afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel and the coffee stream. Holy crap, I thought I paused myself. Look, you heard myself twice. Isn't it amazing? So, it is Monday. It is Mobility Monday. Let's say hello to chat. Blackstar, hello. Jordan Mahoney, hello. Howard Robinson. That's a new name. Welcome to the channel. Blind Ryan. The weather has finally calmed down according to my back. This winter is going to suck. Yes. I'm pretty much going to be nonstop pain delirium babbling. Is it delirium if you're conscious of it? Good luck, Jordan. I've been asking for years. Oh, my name. My first name is out there. But I thought everybody knew my first name because of like my PayPal used to have it on there. My first name is Talia, but I go by Blind Press. My sister accidentally calls me Talia all the time on our wine and crime streams, so may as well. But it's just I just Blind Press is my channel name, so that's just how it works. Pause, damn you. Okay. So yeah, I figure I may as well just say it now because my sister accidentally says it all the time anyway, so. Good coffee. Fresh coffee. I literally would never have guessed that, and I will never remember it either. Hey, do you remember Ra's al Ghul's daughter, Talia al Ghul? Just think of that. Think of her. Yes, compare me to a villain. It's fine. You neither look nor sound like a Talia, but you have an OnlyFans like one. Oh, that's funny, Ryan. That's funny. You are a funny boy. So we've got some interesting things today, and as it is Mobility Monday, I have a few things that are disability related. We have a couple of articles. I have the trailer for The Last of Us remaster, which, yes, I know. It's a AAA game. But I don't care. I want a PS5 and I want to play The Last of Us, both games, and I want to play God of War Ragnarok. And I want to play any other games that come out that might be accessible, because I have a feeling that times are finally changing. It's the optimist in me. I can't help it. It's the optimist in me. Blind gamers can't be choosy. Take what you can play. Yep. In theory, I'll be changing my name on Wednesday. Derek said he'd take me. Oh, nice. Nice. Times have been changing very fucking slowly. Oh, yeah. It's been at a snail's pace for sure. But I definitely feel the change coming. Definitely feel the change coming. So we're gonna start. There were a couple of articles that I actually didn't get a chance to share with you guys on Twitch. So we're gonna do those first. And then we're going to watch the Last of Us trailer, and then we're going to, what's it called? Then we're going to go through. Yeah. Go through everything. That's what we're gonna do. Okay. So this is an article, if I can read it. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is an older story. It is from 3 weeks ago, but I still wanted to share it with you guys because it's some stories just they're still worth sharing even if they're a few weeks old. And also finding up-to-date disability stories is a lot more challenging than you might think. This is it. Okay. Okay. How visually impaired people ease social awkwardness. A study highlights the range of uncomfortable situations people living with blindness or visual impairment encounter due to interpersonal communication challenges. Hey, Selecta Boy! It's disability stuff. It's always going at a snail's pace. Yep. Yep. So true. Um, okay, this is interesting. The paper also outlines strategies people with visual impairment use to navigate these situations. This work validates the lived experience of people living with visual impairment, says the author or the co-author of the study and a professor at North Carolina University. Blind and visually impaired and sorry. Let me try and associate professor, sorry, of communication at North Carolina State University. Quote, it also provides tangible ways that blind and visually impaired individuals, as well as sighted people, can use communication to create more positive social interactions. And visually, it repeated itself twice. They have encountered countless instances of uncomfortable interactions with others, but the turning point with me was when I brought my guide dog to the vet and she would only talk to my driver and not me. Oh, that would piss me off. That's like when I gave birth to our first son. As soon as he was visible to the nurses, and it clicked with them that I would be taking care of him, they literally stopped talking to me. They would only talk to Pincalo or my mom. And it was really fucking frustrating. And like it caused me a lot of stress, especially right after giving birth when your hormones are all over the place. It was hard. It was really hard. These circumstances, uh let's see. Wait, really? There's no more? Oh, visual impairment and communication. For this qualitative study, the researchers conducted in-depth interviews with 24 adults living in the United States and who are blind or who are living with blindness or visual impairment. The interviews focused on social interaction, feelings of stigma and uncertainty, and technique. The interviewees developed for managing these social interactions. Quote, we found uncomfortable social interactions are inherently part of living with blindness. Tasic says blind and visually impaired people can miss cues that or can miss visual cues that sighted people take for granted, and people don't often know how or when or how to speak directly to us. Yes, the visual cues. And also, it's not just visual cues. it is how our faces look. Like, there are so many times when people talk to me and they're like, "Are you okay? You look sad." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just, my face is just in its normal state." Um, but apparently it looks like I'm sad or angry. Um, Hello, Costin. Welcome to the show. Yeah, it's very, it is hard. And there are some blind people who were not taught to look at people when they're speaking to them. I was not one of them. My mother hammered it into me that even though I couldn't see who I was speaking to, it wasn't just about being able to see them. It was about respect and showing them that you're engaged with the conversation, and you need to at least have your face pointed in the direction of their voice. But there are also some people with eye conditions and their eyes shake or like move uncontrollably, and some sighted people are like, "Look at me when I'm talking to you," and it's like, they literally can't, asshole. um these interactions oh these interactions can be awkward because people with visual impairment often have to ask for help with day-to-day tasks, like getting a ride to the store or finding an elevator in an unfamiliar building. That's true. If you haven't had orientation and mobility to a building, you are going to have to ask, hey, where's the elevator? Um, which is, and not everybody will understand that. Such requests may be awkward for sighted people who have different degrees of awareness or experience with the blind community. Yep. Some may want to help, but don't know how. Others have good intentions, but end up overstepping. Yes. Like the people who, instead of using their words to tell you where a seat is on the bus, they physically grab your body and drag you over while the bus is moving, and you end up getting hurt. Or the people that shout from their cars when it's technically not safe to go across the street and you're waiting for the actual traffic cues to tell you. Um, but the people don't necessarily know that, and they're like, "It's safe to cross, there's no cars." It's like, that doesn't mean it's safe to cross just because there's no cars. It could be worse. You could have resting bitch voice. Ha! Resting bitch voice. There's the ones that do the honking. Yep. The ones that honk at you to tell you to cross the street when it's not safe. Or the ones that see you lining up to cross the street, like making sure that you're lined up with the curb so that you're not just wandering off into traffic. And they think that you're going to walk out into the traffic that's moving right in front of you, and they shriek, literally, "Don't cross!" It's like, I know, it's all right. Calm down. Like, you wonder sometimes if people are going to literally have an aneurysm while they're watching you, because they amp themselves up so much that they end up making it worse on themselves than it actually is for the person they're trying to help. And then the person they're trying to help has to take time out of their day to be like, "Okay, relax. Please don't drive yourself into a a funk." Study participants also commonly reported feelings of shame and isolation related to their blindness, which was often reinforced by the uncomfortable nature of many of their social interactions. Well, that sucks. I'm sorry that you feel shame about your blindness, but that just because other people are awkward and stupid doesn't mean that you should feel ashamed of your blindness. I wonder if the study took the time to find out how long each participant had been living with their condition, because that would have been an interesting um, variable to the study, to see how many of the ones who lost their sight or became visually impaired later on in life felt more shame and isolation than the ones who either lost their sight as babies or young toddlers or were born that way. That would be a very interesting variable to have studied, and it's a shame that it doesn't state here whether or not that was asked. Let's see. Quote, we want people living with blindness to know that they are not alone in feeling this way, Tasic says. Quote, there's nothing wrong with them, and many of us live with visual impairment, share these experiences. Fortunately, we found some people with visual impairment. Uh, we found some ways visual people with visual impairment effectively use to navigate social interactions with sighted people. Strategies generally fall into two categories: reducing the likelihood of having an awkward encounter and recovering from an awkward encounter. Yeah, you know how you recover from an awkward encounter? You laugh about it. That's what you do. You laugh. That's all you do. There's unless it's like unless you become physically hurt, in which case it's no longer classified as an awkward encounter. How to avoid awkward encounters. Disclose blindness. Yeah. Some participants found it helped to disclose blindness clearly and succinctly. Yeah. At the beginning of an encounter to reduce uncertainty, to accomplish specific goals, Romo says. Yeah, absolutely. I got into a big argument with my piano teacher when I was younger. Um, Sorry. For example, one study participant talked about opening a conversation by saying, "I'm blind and could use some help finding this address." Yeah, it's exactly like you don't have to make a big show out of it. Just be like, "Excuse me, I'm blind, and I'm not familiar with this area. Could you help me find X?" Or um in the mall, I've gotten lost and I've found somebody. I'm like, "Excuse me, I'm blind. It's been a while since I've been here and I've gotten turned around. Can you help me find this store?" Like that's all you have to do. I don't know how we don't punch people half the time. I really don't, because I can't stand it. The sighted people that assume we just do. Oh, the ones that assume. The ignorant sighted people. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, I totally know what you're talking about. Let's see. Disclosing blindness can be emotionally exhausting because we are often tasked with explaining ourselves to others, but it does help get access to resources that we wouldn't otherwise have, says Tasic. Why is I'm sorry, but being blind is just the hand we were dealt, right? So to me, it's just like any other human interaction. Why would disclosing your blindness be emotionally exhausting? Dealing with people's reactions would be emotionally exhausting, but why would you yourself disclosing something that's just a part of you to get help that you need be emotionally exhausting? I've never understood that. Like I said, it can be exhausting dealing with idiots who react to your disclosing of blindness, but you are not in control of that reaction. So why are you emotionally exhausted by the thing that you can control? That makes no sense to me. I'm confused. Okay. Use nonverbal cues. Well, as a totally blind person, that might be a little bit difficult. Researchers found guide dogs and canes can serve as a nonverbal indication that someone is blind, and guide dogs in particular often serve as a social bridge of communication to others. Yeah, because dogs are cute. But I find that the more and I hate to bring this up, but we are not doing a very good job of educating newcomers to our country about what blindness looks like. Here's something that nobody thinks about, okay? We as Westerners have a really bad habit of assuming that things are like they are here in other parts of the world. So over the past decade, there have been a lot of conflicts in other parts of the world, and Western countries have had to take in a lot of refugees. And I have noticed and heard stories from especially guide dog users increase with people in interactions with people from other parts of the world where dogs are not only not domesticated but not trained as working animals. They are feral, they are dangerous, and people are taught to stay away from them because they're feral and dangerous and they have disease. So a lot of people have been I've been hearing, especially from my O&M instructor who's been working with university students. They've been yelled at by other exchange students about their guide dog being in the building. And it's on it's on us to provide the knowledge to people who aren't from here that are coming to live here about what that looks like. We can't just expect other people to come. It would be like us going to live somewhere else and them expecting us to know everything about their culture, right? That's not okay. So we need to provide better education, I think, to the people that we are providing help for, as a safe place to live. That's just my take. Be polite. Yes. My old piano teacher used to have a big issue with this. She apparently she's mellowed out, but she used to be one of those militant, angry blind people who felt like you should see her and know that she's blind and know exactly how to interact with her right away just by dint of seeing her appear in your field of vision. It was abrasive, and we got into an argument about disclosing blindness, actually. She got mad at me because I was telling people that I was trying to get jobs from that I was blind, and she's like, why are you doing that? You shouldn't have to do that. And I'm like, why? Why shouldn't I have to do that? I'm the blind person. I shouldn't expect people to know how to deal with me. I'm just She must have been cantankerous as hell. Oh boy. Oh boy. Every recital that she gave, she did a little speech, and it was really stupid because she insisted that her students, all of her students' family members, be there to support her students in their recitals. But she also insisted that if the students had younger siblings, like, oh, infant siblings, that the infants be quiet because it was distracting. And every goddamn recital, she would give this speech about politeness and respect. And if an infant made one little noise, she would, like, because she would always sit near the front near her students, and she would whip around to the back of the audience, shh, like that, like just whip around and shh people. And she, like, she was a damn good instructor. I'll give her that. She was a damn good instructor, and she knew, like, if you didn't practice your shit that week and you tried to pretend like you did, she knew. Like, and she had braille copies of all of the cited music books, so she taught, like, she still is one of the most sought after piano teachers in the city, by sighted and blind students alike. She also does music therapy for autistic children. So yeah, she was a bitch, but oh, my piano instructor. Respect is evil. Make blind press deal with it. Yeah, my piano instructor. Yeah. So participants said interactions went more smoothly when they used certain phrases. For example, adding a please before a request, or adding a thankful, or a thank you, or saying things like, "Would you please mind giving me a ride when you get a chance?" Gee, not treating a sighted person like a fucking tool and more like a human being, perhaps. I'm sorry, some of this shit is a well, duh. I'm sorry. Recovering after awkwardness. Humor. That's how I deal with it. Humor involves self-deprecation and jokes. For instance, calling oneself a blind girl, joking, five operations get one free, as one participant joked, getting her sixth eye surgery. That's funny. Education. Some participants talked about educating sighted people with explanations about what their cane was for, or tips about how to talk to blind or visually impaired people. Yeah. And you know what's funny? Kids are more likely to ask about the cane than adults are. And parents will get really angry with their kids for asking about the cane. Like, I've had kids say, "Hey, what's your stick for?" And the parents, "No, don't ask that question." And I'm like, "No, it's fine. It's like, this is called a cane, and it helps me make sure that I don't walk into things while I'm walking around because I can't see at all. My eyes don't work at all. So this is called a white cane, and blind people use it to, touch, like, tap and sweep in front of them to make sure that they don't walk into things or walk off of curbs or into potholes." And the kids are enthralled with it. But parents just, they get so, like, angry with their children for asking. It's very strange. Advocacy. Some participants talked about advocating for their rights and the rights of other people living with blindness, of other people with blindness and visual impairments. For example, restaurants or rideshare services. Oh, I don't use rideshare, but the amount of people I've heard yelling, or not yelling, but complaining to Uber about ride refusal because of their guide dog. I've had to educate restaurants about getting braille menus, and where to go to find resources on how to get their menu printed. It's, yeah, it's definitely, like, And a lot of people make advocacy out to be like this giant thing that it's like a mountain. No, like advocacy can be super small shit. Like like I said, telling people, hey, here's where you pass on this to your manager. This is where you go to get braille menus made up. Or um you go to a building and the signage is in braille but the braille is wrong. So you go and you say, hey, just FYI, I'm totally blind, and I awesome, way to go for having your signs in braille, but I just wanted to let you know that it's actually incorrect. um if you want, I can tell you how to fix it. And do you already have somebody that works with you? Do you like all that kind of stuff? It's just little shit like that. It can be big, but it's not always huge stuff. It's not always giant, like, law making stuff. Tips for sighted people. The researchers also drew on the study to outline constructive ways allies, oh my fucking god, just call them sighted people, can use to interact with blindness. Offer help directly and specifically. For example, allies will, oh my god, I'm not going to say allies. For example, sighted people may often say, let me know if you need something from the store, Tasic says. That's a really kind thing to say, but it can create anxiety for blind people asking for help. Instead, a sighted person might say, I'm going to the store. Can I grab anything for you? Or I'm going to the store. Do you want to come? No, I'm sorry. The blind person needs to be a big adult, if they are a big adult, and say, hey, you're going to the store. Can I come along, or can I give you some money to pick up X? Like, that's not. Why do we have to be so goddamn neurotic these days? Like, why? Why does everything have to create anxiety? I'm sorry. Like, why must we as a society work ourselves up over the stupidest shit? Introduce yourself. Another easy thing that sighted people can do, I'm not saying allies, is introduce themselves when meeting with a person who is blind. Say your name when you walk up, Ramos says. People often forget that people with visual impairment can't always recognize a face, and people with visual impairment can't always recognize a voice. Oh my God. The amount of times that I have met somebody once and then not seen them for years, and then met them again and been like, and been had this interaction. Do you remember me? Oh, you know what? Your voice sounds familiar, but it's been so long. I can't recall the name. Can you, what's your name again? Oh, come on. We met that one time and you're blind. So you should know my voice. Come on, just guess. Guess who I am. I Well, blind or not, you should always offer to get your roommate or friend or something when you go to the store. It's just being polite. Exactly. Exactly. Like what we just did with my sister. Like, it wasn't she didn't do it because I'm blind and couldn't get to the store, although that was part of it. But if I wasn't blind, I'm sure she still would have done that. You had parents of people you went to elementary school do this as well. What? Wait, what was I? And it's really fucking weird to look at and listen to and watch. Wait, what was I talking about just now? Fuck. Hey, brain. What was Pink Hollow referencing? Fuck! Okay, hands off. It's important to not touch someone who's blind. Very true. Or don't pet their guide dog without their permission, Kasich says. It's much better to explicitly ask whether a person who is blind or visually impaired needs help. Yeah. Crossing the street, or if they would like help in some other way. Isn't that just normal human behavior, though? Like, shouldn't you just not randomly touch people? Um. Oh yeah, the voice thing. That's what it was. Guessing the voice. That's what it was. The people who, yeah, I had adults, even adults do that to me, like as a child. It was really weird. It, I don't understand why people do that. The study appears in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships. All right. So that was that story. That was that story. Now we're going to look at, let's see. What was that? Now we're going to look at one of the reasons why I really, 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 really want to get a PlayStation 5. Where's the described YouTube trailer? Did I not share it, or did I not copy? I'm an idiot. I thought I copied that link. And now I have to go get it from PlayStation. There's no E in audio description. Dumbass. Where is it here? Is this it? Yep, PlayStation. That's where it was. Okay. So this is from 2 weeks ago, but it's still fucking amazing and I want to show it to you guys. Okay. So this is the launch trailer for The Last of Us trailer, the remaster of the first Last of Us game. Oh yeah. The mother of somebody like 5 or 6 years ago, the mother of some kid I went to school with, like elementary school with, walked up and tried to do that. It was really weird. It was really, really weird. Oh, that's why it's so quiet. That's better. Now let me put it in theater mode so you guys can see the whole thing, because I want you guys to see the whole trailer. Okay. Let's get this going here. Theater mode. There we go. All right.
Now,
Joel interrogates a bound man.
This
The
is
girl.
awesome.
is she alive?
What girl? I don't know no
And
girl.
we're actually gonna get
Joel
audio
drives a knife into his
description
thigh.
for the
Naughty dog.
She's alive.
Ellie runs from a snowy
for
town.
the
Where?
cinematics in Last of Us Remastered
The
2.
town. The town.
She hides in an abandoned mall from 3 men who shoot at her. She fires an
I
arrow
hope
into a
this is
man's
the
head.
describer we get. Because
She stabs another in his neck.
nice.
Words appear. Rebuilt for PlayStation 5.
Here's how this thing's gonna play out.
We built for
You do
PlayStation 5.
what I
is
say.
really sad.
When I say it.
Joel and Ellie traveling together.
And it is literally only for PS5. You cannot
It's
buy it
called
on
luck.
PS4.
And it is gonna run out.
Infected charge at Joel on September 2nd, 2022.
Ooh, the infected sound creepy.
Run! There's too many of them!
You ready to haul ass? Come on.
Men hurl bricks and
Is
cinder
that
blocks as
Anita
Joel and
Sarkeesian?
Ellie weave around them in a pickup truck.
I don't think so.
Words appear. Find something to fight for. A montage of Ellie and Joel battling for their lives.
Do you even realize what your life means?
Stop with the bullshit. What are you so afraid of?
He swims
This
through a
is
flooded
so
tunnel.
cool.
A man strangles Joel against a train car.
Go!
Ellie stabs the man in the back.
Okay,
Joel swings
Ellie,
a pipe at a
young
man on
Ellie
the
is
floor.
awesome.
The Last of Us Part 1. Pre-order now for PS5, September 2nd, 2022.
See, PS5 only. That makes me sad. That makes me a sad panda. And Carlo's like, shut up! We're not getting a fucking PS5. Oh, so many games that I want to play. I'm sad though, like Multiverses was apparently, according to Ryan, no audio panning, controls sucked, which makes me sad. At least I didn't buy Multiverses. It was free, thankfully. Thankfully. But it was, yeah, I'm still sad. Let's see. What's the next thing here? Next item we have, I think, oh yeah, there's another article that I have here from that I found for today. And I think that might be the last one because the little buddy is sick this today. He, of course, you know, you've been to school for a week and he brought home a cold already. The 5-year-old did. So instead of going for a full like 2 hours, we're going to what's it called? We're going to do this only for an hour instead of like an hour and a half to 2 hours. Oh, you bastards. Are you going to paywall me? Before I share this, are you going to paywall me? Oh, no, you're not. Okay. And we were talking, and this is funny because it has to do with disclosing blindness, or not disclosing blindness, as you will see about this article. So it's kind of apropos to what we've been talking about this whole time. So that's good. That's good. We have a theme. I think he's asleep if he's not downstairs. No, he's not downstairs. But I don't want to leave him alone upstairs. Even if he's like, I have my door shut, all that shit. So this is an article. It's like an op-ed essay, I guess. And it's titled, "I'm blind and didn't tell anyone when I interviewed for my tech job. I got hired and my boss had no idea." then you must have done a remote interview, or you're not blind enough to need a cane. In which case, are you really that blind? Because if you're blind enough, or if you're sighted enough that you don't even need an ID cane, can you see where I'm going here? Okay, let's see. When I was a child, I remember wearing really thick glasses to help me see. My vision was always impaired by high myopia, but it didn't keep me from having a happy childhood, being voted president of the student council in high school, or going to college or graduating. Wait, let me get this proper. In high school, or attending college in Boston to major in biomedical engineering, or getting a job in New York doing tech for a financial services firm. My vision, though weak, never slowed me down. Then you still have vision. But at 25, I had a retinal tear in my right eye. That sucks. While doctors tried to save it through several surgeries, my right eye became unusable. That sucks. That had to take some adjusting. I'm not late. I'm just retarded. Hey, Fury. I'm a positive sort of guy, and just decided to keep moving forward. My wife and I moved to Illinois, bought a house, and got a dog. And at the time, I was working as vice president for Citigroup. A cataract developed in my left eye during my wife's pregnancy, and we planned to operate when my wife's baby was born. Wait, when my wife's baby was born? Oh, once our baby was born. Okay. But although surgery to remove the cataract went well, I had a bad response to the steroid treatment after the surgery. Oh, and then the sight of my left eye was gone. That sucks. When I got in touch with the disability coordinator for my company, I was offered sessions with the low vision specialist who helped me learn how to navigate as a newly blind person. It was such a lifesaver for me. Yes. This is why every time somebody approaches me as an adult or as a teenager and says, I'm losing my sight, what advice do you have for me? I always say, find low vision services in your area and see if they have counseling. See if they have vision services for newly blind individuals that will teach you how to use a cane, that will teach you how to use even for sighted folks, meeting someone they have not seen for a long time can be awkward. Oh yeah. We had Froblitz as a senior tech. He was very partially sighted. So yeah, I always say, get counseling, look for services to help you navigate your world as a newly blind or visually impaired person. Learn how to use a cane, learn all of those things. I interviewed for a tech job without sharing that I was blind. Again, how did you do that? Was it a remote interview? Because I guarantee you, if you showed up with a cane and they didn't figure it out, then they were stupid, or you didn't pull as big of a win as you think you did. A colleague of mine left his job to start working at Microsoft and said there was a digital transformation position at Microsoft that would be right up my alley. I decided to give it a shot and completed the online application, which did not specifically ask about blindness. Well, no. When my in-person interview date came through, Self-doubt ramped up within me. How would I work at one of the biggest software companies in the world? And not only that, how was I going to work at there as a blind person? It demanded the best employees, and I was anxious if I could deliver what they wanted. Dude, like Microsoft or Apple is probably two of the best places to work at as a blind person. I'm sorry, like that's not something I would be concerned about. If it was some like independent tech startup, then yeah, I'd be concerned. Would they be able to accommodate me? But it's Microsoft, dude. Like, what if Microsoft didn't hire a blind person for their tech job? Do you know? And if the blind person was qualified, like, if it was me, I would take that straight to the fucking media, and Microsoft knows that. Like, come on, dude. Instead of worrying, I set my mind to preparing for the interview. I spent 1 month preparing the technical PowerPoint presentation and memorizing the position of each word and each diagram on each slide. I asked friends, neighbors, and colleagues to let me practice delivering the presentation. In the shower, I talked myself through each slide. On the morning of the interview, I showed up 2 hours early with my cane in hand and asked the receptionist to show me to the room where I would be in. For the next 2 hours, I created a space where I would feel comfortable. Presenting in. I moved chairs into position, practiced standing and walking to the screen for the presentation, connected my computer, so made sure that everything was working properly, and cleaned up the floor so I wouldn't trip. Although I didn't intend to hide my blindness, I was resolved to make the interview about my skill, not my lack of vision. My practice paid off, and the interview went smoothly. There was 3 rounds of interviews, and they all went smoothly. I felt confident at the end of each one. Not once did I mention I was blind, and not once was I asked. Yeah, because your cane was there. They didn't have to ask. And it's Microsoft. They've dealt with blind people before. They have a little thing called fucking Windows Narrator built into their fucking platform. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry, dude. Like, congratulations for this job. Congratulations that you got the job, and good on you for not letting total blindness at 25 stop you. Awesome. But you're making this seem like it was like, out of all of the companies you could have done this with and succeeded, Microsoft would have been it. Or Apple. Like, those two. There's a Family Guy joke, where, my son got into Brown. What did he have to do? Open the door? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like Microsoft would be the company that would look at you as a blind person and look at your PowerPoint and, like, think to themselves, especially right now, we should really hire this guy. Not only does he know what he's doing, but it would look really good for us. You need to understand. Let's see. I got the job. I was offered the job and told I would be starting in October 2018. Yeah, perfect timing for the accessibility hire. When I went to employee orientation, my boss, one of the people who had interviewed me, he called and told me to look out for somebody, he told me to look out for his partner on the team who would be working with me. He said he was 6 feet tall, had salt and pepper hair, and drove a blue truck. It was the first time I realized that my boss didn't realize that I was blind. So he didn't notice the cane. That's awesome. He had no idea I was blind, even though I hadn't disclosed I was blind at the interview. I had been certain it was obvious, but apparently not. I'm blind, I responded bluntly on the phone. I felt awkward putting him in a position that could make him feel bad. Wow, he said, that's okay. It's not a big deal. I'll have the guy look for you instead. Right, because it's Microsoft. Like, it's Microsoft. Of course that was his response. I'm sorry, dude. Like, way to go that you got the job. Good for you. And ever since then, my boss has been nothing but supportive of my career, my growth, and my learning. When I started working, I realized there were a ton of people who were blind at the company. Even when I had to fill out official paperwork to apply for special magnifying software, I didn't feel like well, of course there were a bunch of blind people. My disability hasn't impacted my career path. I'm empirical evidence that all that matters is that the job can get done. No, dude. No. Because had you tried to apply at an independent tech company that doesn't have all that experience and doesn't have the accessibility tech in place already, you would not have had that easy of a application process. I'm telling you that right now. And if it was another sort of industry, like social work or stuff like that, you would find all sorts of new accessibility barriers. Like, I've got a friend right now who was given a job through like she's got a job at a bank, and it's a national bank, and they still don't have accessibility software. No, honey, he had partial vision till he was 25, and then he went completely blind. But the job that he got was at Microsoft that already hires blind people. Actually, I know a couple of blindies that I talked to on Clubhouse that work for Microsoft. And there were already a lot of blind people that were there when he was hired. And his essay says that because he had no problem getting hired at Microsoft, his case is empirical evidence that the only issue is a job that needs to get done, and it should be as easy for every disabled and blind person to get a job as it was for him. Negating the fact that had he tried to apply at some hole-in-the-wall independent startup that didn't have the knowledge that Microsoft does about blindness, the fact that Microsoft has Windows Narrator and like Windows Magnifier, like all of those things built into Windows OS, so they already know about blindness. The fact that there have been blind people working for Microsoft for decades. It's the same as it would be like saying I got a job at Apple even though I was blind. It's like, so it would be more wow worthy if he said, I got a job at this independent tech startup and I showed them how to become accessible, and they're on their way to breaking into mainstream areas. That would be impressive. You know what I mean? But I got a job at Microsoft and I'm blind. It's like, okay, cool. But like, out of all of the tech companies, Microsoft and Apple would be the last two companies to judge your blindness. I'm sorry. It's just not only because they have the experience with working with and for blind people, but also they know of the media shitstorm it would be if they didn't hire a blind person who was qualified for their job. I'm sorry, dude. Like, again, congrats on the job and your family, and I'm sorry that you lost the remainder of your vision when you did. But just because you got a job at Microsoft doesn't mean that every blind person is going to have a super easy job finding a job. That's not how it works. You got a job at, like I said, one of the last companies to discriminate against, like, it would be retarded for Microsoft to discriminate against blind people or disabled people, just like it would be retarded for Apple to do it. I worked on an assembly line and was told my color vision wouldn't be an issue, even though the lights on the belt were color changing. Oh, was told it was my fault for not disclosing it. Yeah, see, I always go with the disclosing because there's a health and safety issue too. Like, you're disabled, you need to disclose it so that your coworkers are aware. It's not just an accommodation thing, it's a health and safety thing. That's why I disclose. All right, my friends, thank you for joining me. I'm going to keep this to an hour today just because the little guy is homesick and I should get upstairs to see him. I will be on Twitch tomorrow night for Beat the Blind Girl. Remember, the underscore is gone from my Twitch channel, so it is just twitch.tv/blindpress now. I have updated the link tree to reflect that. Please consider going to the link tree to grab some merch, or you can send through blindpress.net donations. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'll be back on Twitch tomorrow and back here on Wednesday with some wacky Wednesday video clips. Have a fantastic rest of your Monday, guys. Thank you for watching. Bye.